Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel, Rich Diva. This channel is dedicated to find ways to financial freedom by finding means to acquire money, save money, and multiply money. So please subscribe, like, and share this video.
Your story is pure insanity. What you have accomplished and built essentially from scratch is bordering on unparalleled. It's really insane. And I love some of the notions that you have that I think have helped you really build that. Give me some background on Keep Punching.
You know, it's funny, and I guess when I first was really going in the 80s, you hit that horrible recession, and people talk about how did banks get so big, because the government took a few of the big banks and said, you're going to take the good assets and we're going to take all the bad assets, and that's why you have banks that are too big to fail today, because they're roll-ups of bank after bank. And the late 80s were tough, and I was getting going, and you just realize when other people were filing bankruptcy, you just got to keep punching and punching and punching. And people don't realize how much you can take and if you just keep punching and find a way to get out of the mess. And you know what's funny? This is a great story, and I talk about it in the book. I was doing business with like 9 or 10 banks in the late 80s in Texas, and it was really getting tough, and to make payments or whatever, starting to default on some by a few days. Every single bank that I did business with failed before I did. Is that not a crazy story?
How do you stay focused when you're getting punched? How do you weather that storm and have the clarity to move forward?
Well, you just got to keep punching and just take care of your business, and you just realize until they come and shut you down or lock the doors or you can't get product or whatever, until you can't make a payroll. You'd be surprised what you can take, though. And you just keep punching and punching, and believe it or not, times, get good. And it goes back to what I, once again, preach. When times are really bad, we forget they're ever going to be good again. And when times are really good, we forget they're going to be bad again. And we need to always remember that so the paddle doesn't get you.
Yeah, tell people your concept of the paddle.
Well, there's a paddle for everybody's ass. We all know that. And every day you just get up, and I don't fear anything, but I worry about everything. And the day you stop worrying in good times, the paddle will get your behind. And so as great as things are in life, I know you're only a few steps or a few incidents away from something bad happening. You can never forget it. And I'll look and watch everything and pay attention. And every day I get up, I look for mistakes and what I can learn that day. You don't ever think that you know it all, because you don't. And so every day is still a learning process. And you can't ever get caught up with who you are, because you're worth a few $1 billion and you have an extremely large company. And because like I said, the day I don't look in the back of my head, that paddle's going to get my ass.
What made you good at selling? That is a very particular skill.
I'm even today, it's all about, somebody said, why are you so successful? Because I sell. And even when you go out and you raise billions of dollars in debt and you're meeting with debt holders, you're still selling yourself. That's what it's all about. You're not just selling the deal. When I was public for 18 years, okay, and you're selling equity, I did 5 follow-on offerings, the most a restaurant company ever did when I was public. And you are selling yourself, and you know your numbers, you know your business, and you make yourself that you know more than everybody else, even if you don't.
And if somebody wanted to get good at what you're good at, what would you recommend they do?
I think if you know business or not. And people ask me, should I go get my MBA? And you know what I usually tell them? If you need to go get your MBA. If you don't have it inside of you and you understand economics and finance and operations of business, then you need to go get it. I knew that I didn't need it. It was just a God-given gift. But also, remember, I didn't get a lot of those other gifts. Don't ask me to play that guitar. Don't ask me to sing you a song. And don't ask me to draw you anything. But you've got to know your God-given gifts. And everybody has it. Everybody in this room has it right here. So do what you know was your God-given gift and find a way to use that as your path.
If you were going to teach us a few key business principles. What are some of the core principles of business that you really like? If you knew, if I die without my kids understanding these 3 to 5 things, like what would those 3 to 5 things be?
Know your numbers. No matter what business you're looking at, always know your numbers. Number 2, realize that we're not successful if that consumer does not come to us, whether they're eating in your restaurants, whether they're playing in your casino, and whether if you don't have a good product on that basketball court, the fans are not going to come and buy those tickets, the sponsors aren't going to come, and therefore you're not going to have the money to pay for those good players next year. You're not going to be able to pay Russell Westbrook and James Harden each $40 million a year. You've got to always remember, we're only as good as us taking care of that consumer. One of the things I teach everybody, and especially my kids, don't assume anything. People think if somebody walks in and gives you an answer that it's the right answer. And even when I tell somebody to do something, I don't assume they went and did it. I'll ask them a week later, did you do that I asked you to do? Because that was really important to me. Oh my gosh, I didn't do that. And I think that's the biggest mistake people make, is don't assume that everything's running right, don't assume anything. I operate by the 95-5 rule. 95% of everything we do in business, if we're doing anything, is right, so look for the 5%. You're never gonna be great if you don't look for the 5%. You can go to work every day and separate yourself from anybody else. And it's no different than the sound guy on this set. If you pick up, you know what, this sound guy is really, really good, and he's worried about this, and he's worried about that, then all of a sudden you tell somebody, you need a good sound guy this, and then they end up on this person because of a recommendation. And all of a sudden, this guy's known as the best sound guy in LA because he's paying attention, or she's paying attention to details that the other sound people don't. No, you know what, I hear an ambulance out there. Let's cut it. You know, just the little bitty things. And I just think that it's easy to separate yourself from anybody else, no matter what your position is. If you go to work for a company and you don't go up the corporate ladder, it's your fault. It's nobody else's. You're either with the wrong company where there's no upward mobility, or you should separate yourself. Because I know one thing, if you work for me, I'm paying attention. Nothing goes unnoticed, okay? And I tell people that all the time. If you want to separate yourself, it's easy to do because somebody above you is going to notice it. Your peers are going to notice it. It is easy to separate yourself from anybody else.
If somebody comes to you and is like, I want to improve, I get that it is specific to that case, but are there general things that somebody can do? Is it start with shut up and listen? Is it the Tillmanisms? Is it getting those things ingrained in your soul? Or is there something else that gives somebody the mental framework with which to propel themselves forward?
You know, I think that you can pick up from talking to me that I'm not on a different level, okay? These are pretty simple, basic tools. And so nobody out there is listening to him and saying, God darn, he's just using words, and he's just so much smarter than me, so I'm not going to become worth $5 billion. That book is bullshit, okay? He's just naturally smarter than me. I think you can see that I'm no smarter than anybody else in this room. I just use certain little basic tools to be successful every day. Take the word no out of your vocabulary. Worry about your customer. No spare customers. Use the 95-5 rule. Separate yourself from everybody else. Be the bull at whatever you do. And on and on and on.
Can we
know
go
what
back?
you're good at. Know what you're not good at. Whatever position you're at, you want to be the bull. And I don't care if you're in the mail room or if you're the person behind that camera, that I'm going to be better than anybody else with that camera, and I'm going to be the best mail carrier and the person who comes up and is the most organized and does it the most professional way. You can be the bull at any position you're doing, and it's just telling yourself, I'm going to do this better than anybody else. I don't care what the job is. I don't care what you do. You be the bull at what you do.
What is the impact you want to have on the world?
You always want to do the right thing. You want to be remembered that you were very successful, but you did it fairly and squarely. Take pride in out negotiating your ass, okay? And you just want to leave this world that everybody said, God, that was a difficult son of a gun, but he always did the right thing.